Respect. It's the one thing everyone wants, but nobody teaches you how to get. We're told to earn it, but what does that even mean? The truth is, respect is a psychological game. And for most of your life, you've been playing it without knowing the rules. You've seen them. That person who walks into a room and just has it. They're not the loudest. Not the richest. Not the best looking. But when they speak, people listen. What if I told you that it isn't charisma? It's a set of psychological tools. And today, I'm giving you the toolbox. These 7 tricks will fundamentally change the way the world sees you. Stay with me. There is a powerful psychological truth that most people overlook: the more a person talks, the less power their words carry. Humans instinctively respect those who speak with intention, not those who talk endlessly just to fill silence. Silence has weight. Silence has power. And the moment you learn to control it, people begin to treat you differently. Think of the most respected figures in society: judges, military leaders, CEOs, presidents, professors. None of them are loud, desperate, or constantly speaking. When they talk, their words matter, because they don't treat speech carelessly. In the book, The 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene wrote, "Always say less than necessary." He wasn't referring to manipulation, he was describing a psychological principle: people respect mystery, confidence, and conciseness. When you speak less, others naturally listen harder. Why does this work? Because silence makes people think. When a person speaks non-stop, their voice becomes background noise. There is no impact. There is no authority. But the one who speaks thoughtfully forces everyone else to slow down and pay attention. It's the difference between a river that floods everywhere, and a laser beam that cuts through steel. One is loud and chaotic. The other is controlled and powerful. There is also a social instinct at play. When someone is constantly explaining themselves or seeking validation through words, the brain interprets them as insecure. When someone is calm and selective with their speech, they appear confident, even if they are not trying to be. People respect confidence more than they respect volume. There's a reason bodyguards, special forces, and elite negotiators are trained to talk less, listen more, and answer slowly. The calm person is unpredictable. Unpredictability creates psychological advantage. Here's a simple example. Imagine you are in a group and everyone is talking loudly. But there is one person who listens quietly and only speaks when something meaningful needs to be said. People begin to look at that person differently. Their silence demands attention. Their words feel intentional, powerful, unforgettable. A study in communication psychology shows that people assign higher intelligence to someone who listens first and talks second. Why? Because speaking without thinking is easy. Speaking after thinking is leadership. Now let's talk about arguments. When two people fight, the loud one believes they are winning. But the quiet one, the one who speaks calmly and sparsely, always appears stronger. Anger is loud, insecurity is loud, desperation is loud. But self-control is silent. And self-control is respected. There is another psychological technique used by interrogators and therapists: strategic silence. After you say something important, you intentionally stop talking. Most people cannot handle the pressure of silence, so they start revealing information, apologizing, agreeing, or backing down. Silence forces the other person to respond first. Silence puts you in control. So how do you use this trick in daily life? Don't rush to answer every question. Don't over-explain your decisions. Don't talk nervously when silence appears. Pause before you respond. Speak slowly, not quickly. When you finish a sentence, don't jump to fill the space. When you do this, people instantly perceive you as stronger, wiser, and more confident. And here is the most powerful part: you don't need to pretend to be someone else. You simply stop giving your words away for free. You make people earn your voice. Your silence becomes a psychological mirror. Others project their assumptions, fears, and respect onto it. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, the quiet person becomes the one worth listening to. Speak less. Say more. Command the room without raising your voice. Authority is not volume, authority is presence. Before we move to the next trick, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Comment this: I choose respect, not attention. Let's continue. One of the strongest psychological triggers of respect is boundaries. People do not respect you because you are nice, friendly, or helpful. They respect you because you show them where the line is. Human beings instinctively test each other. Sometimes they do it consciously, sometimes without thinking. But every relationship, friends, co-workers, family, romantic partners, runs on an invisible rule: people treat you based on what you allow. If you allow disrespect, you will receive disrespect. If you allow people to talk over you, they will talk over you. If you allow people to use you, they will use you. But the moment you create a boundary, everything changes. Not only in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear conflict or loss. They think, if I say no, people will get angry. If I protect myself, people will leave. But this thinking is backwards. In reality, the more you say yes to everyone, the less anyone values you. When you make yourself too available, too flexible, too forgiving, people stop appreciating you. Scarcity increases value, even in human psychology. Mark Manson, author of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***, said, "When you say yes to everyone, you are really saying no to yourself." And that is what destroys respect. You train people to believe that your time, your energy, your emotions, and your life are open for anyone to take. Strong people don't do that. Respected people don't do that. Leaders don't do that. They say no clearly, calmly, and without apology. A boundary doesn't need anger. It doesn't need explanation. It doesn't need justification. It just needs firmness. If someone speaks to you disrespectfully, you can say, "That tone doesn't work for me. Talk to me respectfully." If someone is trying to take advantage of your time, "I'm not available for that." If someone expects you to fix their problems, "I can't help with this." Notice something important: boundaries do not require aggression. People think strength means fighting, shouting, or intimidating, but it doesn't. Confidence is quiet. Weakness is loud. A calm boundary is the sign of a strong mind. There is a psychological effect that happens the moment you set boundaries: people reevaluate you. They suddenly realize they cannot treat you casually. You are not a doormat. You are not endless free labor. You are not someone they can talk to however they want. And even if someone gets upset, even if someone pulls away, they still respect you more. Because deep down, even those who dislike boundaries admire the people strong enough to create them. Now, there will be situations where people push back. Some will guilt-trip you. Some will try to make you feel selfish. Some will call you difficult. That's because they benefited from your lack of boundaries. The moment you change, they lose control. But remind yourself of this truth: if someone only likes you when you're weak, they are not your friend. One powerful strategy for boundaries is removing apologies from your self-protection. You do not need to say, "I'm sorry, I can't help." "I'm sorry, this is too much." "I'm sorry, I need time." You replace it with strong language. "I won't be able to. That doesn't work for me. I choose not to do that." A boundary is a declaration, not a request. And something beautiful happens when you start setting boundaries. You earn your own respect. You stop abandoning yourself just to keep the peace. You stop trying to buy love with favors. You stop shrinking your needs to make others comfortable. When you respect yourself, your self-esteem grows. Your confidence grows. Your identity becomes stronger. People treat you differently because you treat yourself differently. This is why the most respected people on earth are not the friendliest, the kindest, or the most giving. They are the ones who can say no without fear. The ones who choose themselves without guilt. The ones who protect their time, their emotions, and their dignity. When you learn to set boundaries without apologizing, people won't just respect you, they'll think twice before ever crossing you again. Before we go on, hit the like button. If you haven't, it helps the channel. Eye contact is one of the oldest and strongest psychological signals of confidence. Long before human beings had complex language, we communicated with our eyes. Predators stare directly at their targets. Leaders look directly at their followers. Parents stare directly at their children to show authority or concern. Your eyes send messages your mouth never has to speak. And people instantly judge your confidence, respect, honesty, and strength based on how you use them. Psychologists have found that when you meet someone, they decide how confident you are within the first few seconds, and eye contact is one of the biggest factors. Nervous people avoid eye contact. Insecure people look down, look away too quickly, or stare at the ground. Confident people hold eye contact long enough to show certainty, self-respect, and calmness. There is an ancient saying, "The eyes are the window to the soul." But there is a modern psychological translation, "The eyes are the window to your confidence." When you look someone in the eyes while speaking or listening, your brain communicates power. Even if you don't speak a word, your eyes say, "I am not afraid. I am equal. I am present." However, eye contact is a skill. Too little, and you appear weak. Too much, and you appear aggressive or strange. People often think respect comes from staring intensely, but that isn't true. Respect comes from balance. Confidence is calm, not forced. The trick is called the 3-second rule. When someone speaks to you, look into their eyes for about 3 seconds at a time, then naturally glance away briefly before returning. When you greet someone, hold eye contact long enough to show confidence, then release it calmly. When you make an important point, look directly at the person until you finish speaking, then pause. This creates authority without intimidation. When you avoid eye contact, people subconsciously assume several things. You are hiding something. You are afraid. You lack confidence. You feel inferior. You want the interaction to end. Even if none of these are true, the brain automatically interprets eye avoidance that way. On the other hand, people trust those who look them in the eyes. Leaders use eye contact to hold attention. Teachers use it to control a classroom. Officers use it to assert authority. Confident men and women use it to show self-respect in every conversation. In the book Presence, social psychologist Amy Cuddy explains how powerful posture and eye contact are in shaping human perception. When you stand tall and look someone in the eyes, your body sends signals to your brain that boost confidence. It doesn't matter if you feel nervous, your body can trick your mind into strength. And once your mind feels strong, your behavior changes. People sense it instantly. Eye contact also changes the dynamics of respect in group settings. If someone interrupts you or talks over you, stop talking, turn your head slowly, and look directly at them, calmly, without anger. Most people will immediately stop. The one who can stay calm controls the situation. In conversations, eye contact makes your voice stronger without raising the volume. It makes your presence louder without saying a word. It makes people listen more closely, even if you are soft-spoken. The person who looks away nervously appears unsure. The person who holds calm eye contact appears in control. There is another small trick that instantly increases respect. When shaking hands, look directly into their eyes as you say your greeting. Most people look down or away because they are shy or rushed. But the person who makes eye contact looks passionate, confident, and trustworthy. Even strangers feel it. You don't need to stare. You don't need to dominate. You just need to be present. If eye contact makes you uncomfortable, practice gradually. When speaking with cashiers, waiters, friends, or family, hold eye contact 1 or 2 seconds longer than you normally would. At first, your brain will resist, because insecurity lives in the eyes. But with practice, you break the fear. You learn calmness. Eventually, it becomes natural. When someone can look you in the eyes, they respect you. When you can look them back, they respect you more. And when you can hold eye contact without fear, without rushing, without looking away like you don't belong, people feel something powerful: presence. The world is full of loud talkers who can't handle silence. Full of confident words spoken by insecure eyes. But those who master eye contact don't need to shout. They don't need to dominate. Their presence speaks for them. Look people in the eyes. Not to intimidate them. Not to challenge them. But to show them you respect yourself. Before we go on, comment. I'm leveling up my mind. If you want respect from anyone, friends, classmates, co-workers, family, strangers, there is a psychological rule that never fails: the one who controls their emotions controls the situation. People lose respect when they are quick to anger, quick to panic, quick to shout, or quick to break down. But people gain respect when they remain calm, especially under pressure. In every social interaction, there is always power in emotional stability. It doesn't mean you never feel emotions. It means you don't let emotions make decisions for you. The moment you react instantly, whether it's anger, jealousy, fear, or frustration, you give away control. But the moment you pause, think, and respond with intention, you gain authority. One of the greatest Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, said, "If you are distressed by anything, it is not the thing itself, but your judgment of it." This means the problem is not what happens, it's how you choose to react. Respected people understand this deeply. Look at any leader during a crisis. They do not panic. They do not scream. They do not blame others. They breathe, think, analyze, then respond. Why? Because people only follow those who remain grounded while everyone else is losing control. In psychology, there is a phenomenon called emotional contagion, the idea that human emotions spread like a virus. If someone gets angry, others become angry. If someone panics, others panic. But calm works the same way. When one person stays composed in chaos, everyone around them starts to feel safer. This is why calm people earn respect in arguments. When someone shouts at you and you don't raise your voice, they lose power. When someone tries to provoke you and you don't react, they lose control. When someone expects you to get emotional and you remain stable, you become unpredictable, and unpredictable people are respected. There is a simple psychological rule. The first to lose their calm is the first to lose respect. If someone insults you and you immediately explode, they win. If someone tries to embarrass you and you react emotionally, they control you. If someone tries to manipulate you and you respond with anger, they have succeeded. But if you stay neutral, calm voice, steady eyes, composed tone, you flip the dynamic instantly. The other person begins to look dramatic, childish, or irrational, while you appear intelligent and confident. Think of a courtroom. Lawyers argue. The crowd whispers. The atmosphere gets tense. But the judge remains calm. Why? Because authority does not shout. Authority does not panic. Authority speaks slowly, listens fully, and decides carefully. That is why everyone stands when the judge enters. They respect the calm, not the noise. There is another powerful element to emotional control: delayed response. When someone disrespects you, don't react instantly. Pause. Breathe. Think. Even 3 seconds of silence can transform the interaction. While you are calm, the other person becomes uncomfortable, because they expected a heated reaction. Silence puts pressure on them, not you. This is why therapists, interrogators, and elite negotiators never respond emotionally. They let silence do the work. They let the other person reveal their intentions. Emotional control exposes truth. You don't need to be cold. You don't need to be emotionless. You only need to master the space between emotion and reaction. When life stresses you, control your breath before your voice. When someone disrespects you, control your posture before your words. When someone tries to manipulate you, control your tone before the argument starts. People are constantly watching how you respond. They judge your strength not by what happens to you, but by how you handle it. Respect is emotional discipline. And here is the most surprising part: self-respect grows when emotional control grows. You feel stronger, clearer, and more confident. You stop saying things you regret. You stop reacting just to win an argument. You stop letting others control your mood. Anger is easy. Panic is easy. Overreaction is easy. Anyone can lose control. But calmness, that is rare. And what is rare is respected. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, don't shout. The next time someone tries to embarrass you, don't react. The next time life tests you, don't emotionally collapse. Take a breath. Think. Respond with choice, not impulse. Because people do not respect the strongest person in the room. They respect the calmest. Real quick subscribe and turn on bell icon. One of the deepest desires of every human being is the need to feel seen, heard, and understood. People don't just want to exist, they want their existence to matter. This is why the mirror of validation is one of the most powerful dark psychology tricks ever used in persuasion, influence, leadership, and even manipulation. It works because it addresses the emotional backbone of human behavior, the desire for validation. When someone feels validated, they drop their guard, open their emotions, and become more receptive to suggestions and influence. Here is how it works: instead of arguing, correcting, or contradicting a person, you reflect their feelings back to them, even if you disagree. You don't have to say, "You're right." You only need to show, "I understand." For example, imagine someone is angry at you. Most people respond defensively. Why are you overreacting? You're blowing things out of proportion. Calm down. These responses make emotions stronger, not weaker. A validated mind feels calm, a dismissed mind feels attacked. So instead, the mirror of validation sounds like, I can see why you'd feel that way. That makes sense based on what happened. Anyone in your position would react the same. You are not surrendering. You are controlling the conversation by giving the other person the emotional oxygen they are starving for. When someone feels heard, their emotional brain shuts off and their logical brain turns on, and this is the exact moment they become influenceable. Salespeople use it. Negotiators use it. Therapists use it. Manipulators use it. Even parents use it on children. When a child is crying, saying, "Stop crying," doesn't work. But saying, "I know you're upset because your toy broke," instantly reduces the emotion, because they feel understood. Adults are not much different, we just hide it better. The real psychological mechanism behind this trick is called emotional labeling, naming the emotion instead of fighting it. Neuroscientists have proven that when someone labels a feeling, the brain reduces stress signals in the amygdala. In simple terms, when a person's emotions are recognized, the emotional storm fades. That's when influence begins. Now, here's where the trick becomes powerful. Once you validate a person, you can redirect them. First, mirror their feelings. Then, guide their perspective. Example. I understand why you're upset. It really was frustrating, but maybe there's a way we can fix it without all this stress. Notice the structure. 1. Acknowledge emotion. 2. Mirror the feeling. 3. Introduce the solution. People accept solutions more easily when they feel emotionally safe. This trick also works in arguments. If you try to win, you lose. But if you allow the other person to express themselves fully, they start to relax. And the moment they relax, your influence goes up. The secret is, people don't listen to responses, they listen to emotions. Even in relationships, validation is more powerful than logic. If your partner says, "You never spend time with me," the instinct is to defend. That's not true. I'm always here. But validation flips the situation. I understand why you feel that way. Let's plan something just for us. Instant peace. Instant influence. The mirror of validation doesn't only work in conflicts. You can use it to build trust with strangers. When someone talks about their goals, dreams, or problems, you validate. That's a strong plan. You've clearly put a lot of thought into that. I respect how ambitious you are. People fall for validation because it feeds their ego. A validated person feels comfortable. A comfortable person becomes loyal. And a loyal person becomes influenceable. This is why manipulators are dangerous. They validate others only to gain control. It's not always evil, but it is powerful. Here is the dark truth. If you don't validate people, someone else will. And the person who validates them owns their attention, trust, and emotion. So use this trick wisely. Make people feel understood. Mirror their emotions before you guide their direction. This is how you influence without force, persuade without arguing, and win without a fight. Real quick comment. Respect is silent power. Most people think influence is all about what you say. They try to talk more, explain more, convince more, argue more. But in dark psychology, power often comes from the opposite, silence. There is a hidden psychological weapon called the pause and power technique, and it works because silence makes people uncomfortable, self-conscious, and eager to fill empty space. Whoever fills the silence loses control. Whoever holds the silence controls the conversation. People don't realize how terrifying silence is to the human brain. When there is a gap in conversation, the mind starts racing. Did I say something wrong? Are they judging me? Should I say more? Do they disagree? And in that anxiety, they start revealing more information than they planned to. This is why detectives use silence in interrogations. It's why skilled negotiators go silent after stating a price. It's why powerful people pause before answering questions. It signals confidence, control, and dominance. Here's how the trick works. After someone says something, don't respond immediately. Pause. Hold eye contact. Stay calm. Let the silence do the work. In a few seconds, they will feel pressure to speak again. And the second thing they say is usually the truth, or the emotional reality behind their first statement. For example, in negotiations. If someone says, "That's our final price," the average person argues, complains, or tries to negotiate. But with the pause and power technique, you stay silent. You look at them calmly, without reacting. The silence makes them uncomfortable, and suddenly they start offering discounts, bonuses, or compromises, even though you said nothing. Their fear of silence makes them negotiate with themselves. In relationships, silence reveals sincerity. If someone says, "I'm not lying," stay silent and look at them. If they are telling the truth, they remain calm. If they are lying, they panic, start talking too much, over-explaining, and exposing themselves. Silence is a psychological mirror, it reflects what's inside them. Interviews, business meetings, sales, arguments, silence works everywhere because people hate uncertainty. Words give them clarity, silence makes them insecure. Powerful people do not rush. They speak slowly, pause often, and use silence like a weapon. It makes others feel like every word you speak matters. There is another reason silence works: most people talk to be liked. Influential people talk to be understood. When you don't rush to speak, you appear more intelligent, more confident, and more dominant. The brain naturally sees silence as a sign of power. Think of the most powerful characters in movies: they never talk fast, they never panic, and they never rush. They control the room with calmness. This is why the pause and power technique also works in persuasion. After making a request or giving a suggestion, stay silent. The longer you stay quiet, the more the other person feels pressure to agree. Their brain starts thinking, "Why aren't they speaking? What do they expect? Maybe I should just say yes." Silence makes agreement easier than resistance. Even in conflicts, silence can defeat anger. When someone is shouting, arguing, or insulting, silence destroys their energy. Without reaction, their power dies. Eventually, they become confused, embarrassed, or apologetic. People argue for attention, not logic. And if you don't give them the emotional fuel they want, they lose control. But here is the dark side: silence can manipulate. Politicians, leaders, lawyers, and toxic people use it to control those who fear being ignored. Silence can make someone chase you, confess to you, or worry about losing you. It can make you appear mysterious, desirable, or superior, without saying a single word. However, like every psychological weapon, it must be used carefully. Too much silence can look rude. Too little silence loses power. The key is balance: strategic pauses at the right moment. You use silence. After you ask a question. After you make a statement. After someone lies. After someone gives an excuse. After someone insults you. After someone gives a price or offer. The trick is simple: say less, observe more. Silence reveals the truth. Silence exposes insecurity. Silence forces decisions. Words convince people, but silence controls them. The most powerful person in a conversation is never the one talking the most, it's the one who isn't afraid to say nothing at all. Pause for a second, like this video, and comment, "I'm becoming unshakable." There is one psychological habit that instantly earns respect from friends, strangers, co-workers, and even people who don't like you: the ability to stay calm when others lose control. Human beings naturally follow the person who is emotionally steady, not the person who is emotional. The world respects the calm voice in chaos. The calm thinker in crisis. The calm fighter in conflict. When you master emotional control, you automatically gain psychological dominance. People don't realize how rare calmness is. Most people react instantly. Someone insults them, they insult back. Someone raises their voice, they shout louder. Someone disagrees, they get defensive. This is emotional weakness disguised as strength. Reacting is not power. Remaining calm is. In the book Meditations, Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it." Meaning, life doesn't break you, your reaction does. When you are calm, you become unpredictable. People don't know what you're thinking, what you'll do, or what you want. This uncertainty forces them to treat you with caution and respect. But when you react emotionally, people know they can control you. They know which buttons to push. They know how to make you angry, scared, insecure, jealous, or desperate. Losing your temper means losing power. Calmness works because it shows three things: intelligence, self-respect, and emotional maturity. If someone tries to embarrass you and you remain calm, they look foolish. If someone tries to start drama and you stay silent, they lose the fight. If someone gives you bad news and you say, "Okay, let's think," people instantly trust your leadership. Calmness makes people feel safe. And humans trust the person who makes them feel safe. Here's a psychological secret: the human brain imitates the emotional state of the strongest energy in the room. If someone is anxious and you stay calm, they will eventually calm down. If someone is angry and you remain still, their anger slowly dies. If someone panics and you speak gently, their brain follows your rhythm. Calmness is contagious, and the person who spreads calm becomes the dominant one. You can see this in everyday life. The person who freaks out becomes the follower. The person who stays calm becomes the leader. When things go wrong, everyone looks to the calmest person for direction. So how do you practice unshakable calm? First, master your breathing. Slow breathing equals a slow mind. Fast breathing equals a chaotic mind. After thousands of years of study, every martial art, every meditation practice, and every military training discovered one truth: you cannot control your mind if you cannot control your breath. When someone tries to provoke you, inhale slowly, exhale slowly. You don't need to speak. You don't need to react. Your calmness already wins. Second, delay your reaction. Never respond in the heat of emotion. A 5-second delay can Third, speak slowly. When someone raises their voice, lower yours. When someone pushes you, step back. When someone tries to make you angry, smile. This reverses the power dynamic completely. They wanted you emotional, but now they look emotional, and you look like the mature one. Fourth, don't defend yourself aggressively. Attackers want your reaction. Critics want your reaction. Manipulators want your reaction. When you stay calm, you starve them. They lose their weapon. Your silence becomes your shield. And here is the deepest layer. Calmness creates respect because it means you are not controlled by the world, you control yourself. People admire that because most humans are prisoners to their emotions. When people see that you are unshakable, you become someone they trust, follow, fear, or look up to. This doesn't mean you should let people walk over you. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is controlled power. You can be calm and firm. Calm and strong. Calm and direct. Calm does not mean passive, it means precise. If a storm comes, a weak tree snaps. A strong tree bends, holds its ground, and survives. Staying calm doesn't mean nothing affects you. It means nothing breaks you. And that is the highest form of psychological respect, strength without anger, confidence without arrogance, power without noise. When you carry calmness like armor, the world treats you differently. Because in a loud world full of emotional chaos, the calm one is always the one in control. Respect is not demanded, it is earned through behavior, confidence, and self-control. When you speak with purpose, set boundaries, stay calm, and carry yourself with quiet strength, people have no choice but to treat you differently. These 7 psychological tricks don't just change how others see you, they change how you see yourself. Use them wisely, use them confidently, and watch how the world begins to respond with respect, attention, and admiration. If you found this video valuable, like, share, and subscribe for more powerful psychology and self-improvement lessons. Thanks for watching.